Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Autism Stories. I'm your host, Doug Bletcher, the founder of Autism Personal Coach. Autistic people are the true experts of the autistic experience, and Autism Stories is where we interview autistic people to learn from their stories, experiences, and get their insights. If you'd like to be notified about each week's episode of Autism Stories, we suggest you subscribe on your favorite podcast listening platform. We would also appreciate it if you could give us a positive rating and review, as it will help others to learn about autism stories. One thing I love in life is to have new experiences, which is so important to me as it allows me to sift and sort through what I truly want. Otherwise, I truly would have no damn clue. So with each episode of Autism Stories, I get those new experiences, and with each new story that someone shares with me and all of you. On today's interview, it's going to be especially new and unique, as for the first time on Autism Stories, I'll interview three people on one episode. And judging by the wonderful conversation we had, this is definitely something I want to continue to do more of. On today's episode, the Mod Squad, who consists of Adolana, Bella Santoyo, and William Del Rosario, join me to discuss the power of three, making communication the expectation, and how they are mastering their destiny. We hope you enjoy today's conversation. Otto, Bella, and William, thanks so much for joining me today.
Hi, Doug. Good afternoon. Thank you for reaching out and giving us a platform to share our stories. I would like to start by thanking you for this unique opportunity and for your patience while we answer your questions with our augmentative and alternative communication devices. My name is Adolana. I am a young Latin man with short brunette hair, stylishly gelled back. I have dreamy, blue eyes, a smattering of sun-kissed freckles all over my face. I have a bright, inviting smile. I am wearing a solid-colored blue t-shirt. I have a virtual background of a man in silhouette, walking out of a storm drain, towards the light at the end of the tunnel. The walls of the storm drain are covered in multicolored graffiti. In red letters, there is the heading which reads, "Information illuminates, follow the light." This scene is intentional. I want you to think for a moment how we are often forgotten, marginalized, and being subjected to professionals who suffer from severe tunnel vision. I realize this is a podcast, but I believe, just as I listen to audiobooks, I enjoy a visual description of who I am listening to. Seated next to me, on my left, is my communication partner, Shelley. Now let's get back to focusing on me. I live in La Jolla, a seaside community of San Diego, California. Yes, I am your typical beach bum. I go to the beach every single day, rain or shine. What is atypical is that I am an 18-year-old high school senior enrolled in honors courses. I feel compelled to tell you about my course load because this is unusual and should not be. I have autism and an apraxia. I use A-C to communicate. I am an entrepreneur, motivational speaker, and a self-advocate. I want my experiences to set the expectations for the next generation of disabled individuals, especially those with speech-related disabilities.
Hi, Doug. I'm loving this opportunity to chat and share about us. My name is Bella. I am a female Hispanic in my early 20s. I have dark brown eyes and long dark brown hair. I live in a beautiful beachside community called Belmont Shore. I am an autistic AAC user with dyspraxia, a condition that impacts my motor abilities. This means I need support to communicate and motor through my day. My lack of speech and motor challenges do not limit me. I am a student in a virtual private school program called Access Academy, where I am finishing up my last few requirements to earn my high school diploma. My first-hand experiences being denied needed support for communication and academic access have been a catalyst to grow as a self-advocate. Thank you for having us on your podcast today.
Hello, and thank you for having me here today. My name is William Del Rosario. I am a 22-year-old Hispanic Filipino male with short black hair, brown eyes, and wear glasses. My pronouns are he and him. I am a non-speaking adult learner with autism and live in Orange, California. I use augmentative and alternative communication, AAC, via typing with an iPad and a communication app that has voice output. Supporting me today is my mom, Michelle. I am currently working towards earning my high school diploma one letter at a time. While my communication and learning differences do not define me, they have been used against me when determining the support services that I have received. I have historically been viewed as a limited learner capable of only the most basic skills, and I would like to put that thinking in the rearview mirror. I'm a self-advocate and invite you to join me on my journey to make communication accessible to all.
And I'm so excited to have the three of you here today. And the three of you form the Mod Squad. And your social media account says that you are agents of change, forces of nature, and we will light you up, blow your mind, and rock your world. I love every word of that. Can you tell our listeners what exactly the Mod Squad does and what exactly is your mission?
First, I want to explain that MOD stands for Mastering Our Destiny, showing the world what can be done when given access to communication and the opportunities to use it is our mission. It's funny, we met in a social skills class, but very soon began to challenge our teachers by letting them know we wanted experiences that were real, and we fast became typical friends who planned fun adventures. Each time we went somewhere, we made sure we had our letterboards, or AAC, and began to have real conversations with the community that freely set the communication expectation. One typer can seem unique, but three together is a force that ignites change.
We are self-advocates who are on a mission to create change in the very systems that are supposed to help us. We first presented together in a webinar about our friendship requiring no social skills goals, and we quickly realized we had a lot to say about many other meaningful topics. Mod Squad was born in 2019, and we have been presenting in local and globally attended conferences ever since. We share our educational experiences, as well as our thoughts on access, inclusion, and AAC, which stands for Augmentative Alternative Communication. Our mission is to put a human face to our non-speaking community, many of whom are still without a voice. Lack of speech does not equate to lack of intelligence. Teach us and support our needs. This is what we are passionate about.
We lead with love, and we want to show people, all people, anything is possible with the right type of support. We want to demonstrate there is power in the collective voice. Self-advocates tend to be solo acts, one-man shows. Seriously. How many trios have you met? We want people to hear our message, but see our collaboration, too. People consider that have autism and think we prefer isolation and have issues with interaction and social situations. This is not our reality. This is not our truth. We are best friends. We are not unique in this. We want to show people generalizations about autism is harmful. We want people to understand it is all about communication, access, and support.
And I can definitely say 3 is unique because I believe this is the 240th episode of Autism Stories, and this is the first time I've interviewed 3 people at once. So I wanted to talk about interdependence with the 3 of you today. You know, it's critical in all of our lives. And on your website, you talk about, instead of how interdependence is key to your success, and use some really smart analogies to express this. What are some ways you think to help people understand about interdependence?
I am puzzled as to how needing support is somehow bad. Sadly, I experience being dehumanized because I am unable to communicate and perform many motor tasks independently. I think many educators are unaware or they don't understand how our sensory and motor systems are impacted. Must I live a meaningless life because of ableist ideas? With the right support, I am now finishing up my last 3 requirements for my high school diploma. I want everyone to know that all students deserve a quality education despite their differences. Access is the goal. Communication is the goal. Let's start focusing on what we can do with support rather than penalize us for needing it.
Judy Human's quote that has always resonated with me the most is, independent living is not doing things by yourself. It is being in control of how things are done. This is exactly how I view independent communication. For far too long, goals in P's, and P's state independent communication as a goal, and this is meant as communication without support. Communicating by yourself. But we need to view independence with Judy's lens. We need to view independence as the freedom to control how communication is done. We have the control of the amount of support we require and the access to the mode of communication we choose. We need to take back the definition of independence and stop feeling as if it is a personal failure if we require support in any aspect of our lives. The ultimate goal is a rich, fulfilled life. This can only happen with a robust system of communication. Everything begins and ends with our ability to communicate.
Giving support to a person with a learning or communication difference needs to stop being viewed as a way to quantify them as being less. Every human should have the right to access their communication of choice as a basic human right. It's funny, when the world shut down because of the pandemic, everyone quickly shifted to find ways to access the tools and technology they needed to communicate. Students across the world were given iPads and computers in what seemed like the blink of an eye. The very technology and supports such as interpreters, closed captioning, etc. that people with disabilities have been denied access to for years was suddenly accessible to the non-disabled community. Parents have to help their children learn how to use these tools, and no one questioned their interdependence.
And in our chat here, Otto mentioned that in terms of analogies regarding to interdependence, I wanted to add dancing the tango, doubles tennis, and ice skating in pairs is never seen as less than individual displays or athletics. Now, I read that making communication the expectation is work that Mod Squad is committed to. And you visited your state capital in February, I believe, to advocate for change. What would you hope others would do to join you in positively making changes so that communication actually is the expectation?
The point I wanted to make when we were in Sacramento was that communication should be accessible everywhere. It is not a service code or simply a piece of technology to carry around. We mentioned interdependence earlier. I rely on my team to support me with my communication in all areas of life. Recently, at an appointment with the Department of Rehabilitation, DOR, I was asked to take a test without my communication partner. My case manager said that I would have access to my communication because my iPad would be with me. I asked her if a deaf person were being asked to take this test, whether they would have their interpreter stay outside the room and tell them that they have access to communication because their hands are with them. As someone who needs their communication partner to help regulate them and position their keyboard or move to a low-tech letterboard due to fatigue or dysregulation, I find this to be unacceptable and advocated for systemic change to put communication first. We still have ways to go, but it was good to be seen and heard by some of the decision makers.
I say to the educators listening, AAC for education is needed. Many autistics like myself were subjected to remedial and repetitive tasks year after year. I had no reliable way to communicate. By the way, requesting food or a toy is not communication. I was 10 years old when a speech therapist introduced me to text-based communication and started talking and teaching me like I understood. Of course I understood, but no one had ever helped me organize my impulsive body like she had. She presumed competence, and with access to choice boards, and later a keyboard or letterboard, I knew immediately that my ability to make my thoughts known was possible. My point is, teachers, teach new and novel learning and avoid the preschool flashcard garbage that many educators think is real teaching. Age and grade appropriate lessons should never be denied.
Resuming competence would be a great place to start. This is turning into a catchphrase, so I want you to understand what I mean. You may say you presume competence, but when you address my support staff instead of me directly, your actions speak louder than your words. By not addressing me directly, you do not consider me a capable person, one who has independent thoughts and an understanding of the world around me, and my place in it. This is the first step. You must view me as a whole person, not a deficit, not a defect, not a collection of diagnoses. A whole person, worthy of inclusion, access, and equity.
Advocating for change is so critical, but I think when it's done using creative outlets, it can really grab people's attention even more, which is exactly what the three of you have done. You worked with the Miracle Project. The Mod Squad was part of creating and performing in a music video titled Let My Typing Let You See, that challenged stereotypes about those that don't use spoken language to communicate. Can you talk about how this creative project has impacted your lives?
What a rush. I always had lyrics and melodies in my head, but to finally find a group of professionals in the biz that allow those inner thoughts and voices to be shared with the outside world was so empowering. The Express Yourself class was the brainchild of Elaine Hall, founder of the Miracle Project. Her son Neil is a multimodality communicator like us, and Darlene Hanson, a speech and language pathologist and founder of Kindred Communication. She has worked with all of us over the years, individually, before this was even a class, improving our communication, and so much more. It started as social skills class, using theatrical techniques to promote improvisation and social interactions. But like always, the outspoken mod squad, there's some cognitive dissonance for you. Outspoken, non-speakers. Ha ha ha, quickly took over and told her our ideas for a music video, and the rest is history. It again is another example of how anything is possible with the right support.
The Miracle Project started as a creative way for me to connect with other multimodal communicators during the pandemic. Each week from a small corner of my family room, I would join for an hour with some of the most creative peers I know. From lyrics to choreography to musical style and story mapping, this project was a group effort that kept us connected and hopeful for the time when the world would reopen. When it did, we were able to get together and film. It was awesome and a memory I will keep forever. The final project is a way to help close old mindsets and the product of what can happen when we are given the chance to amplify our voices.
Project opened my eyes to see myself as an artist. I see myself as a creator now. This is huge. For so long, I thought the arts were too much for me to handle. I'm pleased to say I was wrong. Through our weekly Zooms, my mindset about my limitations changed. The shutdowns I used to experience when it came to movement improved. This is what I'm most proud of.
Now, that music video, Let My Typing Let You See, had a focus on how those that don't use spoken language are taught in educational settings. Thinking about that, in the beginning of this year, the three of you gave a presentation to educators at the El Dorado SELPA, SELPA in California. What was your message to them and to all educators out there?
My main message in telling my story is that my road to thriving is a work in progress, but I am the driver to my destiny. In that presentation, I shared the barriers and roadblocks that I encountered in the public school system, but I also shared the detours I took and bridges I had to build to get where I am today. I had to endure years of being presumed incompetent, and this must stop. I want all educators to teach and to teach well. Presume competence and meet your students' needs to ensure access to communication and education. I am hopeful our message is heard, and if we impacted one educator in that crowd of 300, it was so worth it.
We drove home the message that access and support to a robust system of communication is the only way to reach your destination. We gave a clever presentation, using road signs as metaphors for our journey thus far. Highway symbols that everyone knows, such as stop, do not enter, detour, were powerful images to explain our segregation, lack of inclusion, lack of support, misdirected IEP goals, misdiagnosis, and so much more. It was clever, well rehearsed, but most importantly, it was well received. We got a standing ovation from nearly 300 educators and therapists. We got 2 more speaking gigs and a bunch of online orders on my website www.osmodos.com. Shameless plug.
Having the opportunity to speak in an unmuted and honest way about our lived experiences was amazing. Sometimes writing out your truth helps you let go and realize hard doesn't have to mean bad, and that it can be used to transform barriers into constructive roadmaps. We opened 300 minds that day and hope they carried what they learned back to their schools and students.
And beyond this interview, how can people learn about the Mod Squad?
on Instagram at ModSquad4Access, and our website www.modsquad4access.com. Again with my self-promotion. On Instagram at Otto_types. And on the web, www.ottosmodos.com. All my proceeds fund other non-profits that support inclusion and access to communication for individuals with speech-related disabilities.
I don't have much to add to what Otto shared. We try to keep our Instagram account, Mod Squad, 4, Access, as a place to share what we are doing.
Yes, please follow us on Mod Squad for Access Instagram and our website by the same name.
And on your website, you mentioned that the three of you are mastering your destiny. What do you want the world to know about your destiny?
I have so many goals I want to accomplish, among them going to college, starting my own business, and continuing my advocacy work. I want the world to know that my destiny is full of potential, that no one can define me nor limit me. I want the world to know that I am worthy of living my best life, that I won't bow down to those who violate my civil rights. Access to communication and education are my right, and I intend to continue to advocate for myself and for my community.
My destiny will always be active, and I want to live a life with purpose where I am in the driver's seat. I hope to one day go to college and continue my writing and advocacy work. Having friends like Bella and Otto is a dream come true, and as always, I look forward to more adventures.
World domination, of course. I already have a day proclaimed to be Otolana Day in San Diego. April the 12th, 2023.
And is it okay? I just have two follow-up questions. Is that all right with the three of you? Okay, the first one is a couple of times you use the language multimodal, modal communicators. I think a lot of people out there might not have heard that phrase or term before. So could you explain to them what that specifically means?
Many devices to communicate, low-tech letterboards, choice boards, sign language, and high-tech devices like iPads with text-to-speech apps.
And Bella typed in chat gestures, pointing, looking, and all ways to non-verbally get your point across. My nodding for yes and no sucks, but nodding too.
Everyone communicates, and as it should be, the way they communicate should be their choice. Days can vary, and sometimes I speak, others I type or use a letterboard. When I was younger, I used gestures or body language. Honoring communication is key.
And my last question, or it's a comment, maybe it's a bit of both. I think, William, you earlier mentioned that one typer is unique, but three are a force that ignites change. And along those lines, I was thinking about one of my favorite forms of media, which are podcasts. And I'm sure the three of you have lots of things going on in your lives. And like you've said, lots of things you want to do. Have the three of you ever thought about creating your own podcast?
Yes. Maybe a show.
Heartily, yes. I would love that.
Was heartily. Sometimes
The camera loves us.
And Bella said, yes, anything is possible. I would love to see that. Maybe a show, maybe a podcast. I would certainly love to see that happen.
Red carpet invite.
Thank you for believing in us.
Absolutely. And I really loved our conversation today. Thanks so much for the three of you for joining me.
I have another last message. Thank you again, Doug. I have enjoyed our time together today. I appreciate your mission to allow us, the autistic individuals, to share our stories, our truths, as we live them. We are trying to change the narrative, shape the story to a positive perception. It pains me. We are often viewed through the deficit lens, the missing piece, the broken thing that needs to be fixed. Experts thought calling autism a spectrum would be helpful, but I disagree. It is still called a disorder, and the prefix is similar to being dismissed. And don't get me started on the question, do you want to be called nonverbal or non-speaking? Both are nonsense. Call me by my name, Ottolana, and get used to the term multimodality communicator. We are examples of A/C users living large. Hope you enjoyed our time together as much as we did.
Thank you for this opportunity. It's a first for me, but I hope not the last. For everyone listening, think about the possibilities, not the capacities. Let's set the expectation.
I am so pleased that we have a new forum to be heard. If we have impacted at least one parent or educator listening, then we have made a difference. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and may autistic voices everywhere continue to be heard.
Thanks so much to the Mod Squad for this conversation. To learn more about the Mod Squad, please check out the link in the podcast description for this episode. At Autism Personal Coach, we provide customized coaching for autistics to help improve the quality of our lives. All of our coaches are either autistic or autistic selected for their commitment to trauma-informed and neurodiversity affirming strategies. They deeply understand burnout, sensory needs, executive functioning, and the importance of special interests. If you're interested in learning more about our coaching, please visit autismpersonalcoach.com for more information. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Autism Stories, and if you did, if you could tell a friend, foe, or anyone you know about it so they could have the same enjoyable and educational experience as you when listening to Autism Stories, it would be very much appreciated. Until next time, I'm Doug Bletcher of Autism Personal Coach. Talk to you then.